Hello guys, welcome to what I guess you could consider a new sort of series, but it's not going to be that consistent such as like day after day, but we're going to be playing Kerbal Space Program 2. And some of you have probably seen my live streams that I've done with Kerbal Space Program 2, but I thought about doing a video portion of Kerbal Space Program 2 as well, going through the I guess exploration mode slash career mode, depending on how you want to say it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to start a new campaign here, and exploration mode, we're going to be doing this. So build your space agency from humble beginnings, starting with a small suite of parts, perform experiments and complete missions to earn science, use science to unlock more parts at the Research and Development Center. And that's the mode that we're going to be playing it on. And we're definitely going to be changing some of our colors here. And I definitely want to go with maybe a white and maybe like an aqua. I think that's really pretty. So let's set those agency colors. And I think for the flag, we're going to go with this one. I think that's nice. So we're going to name our campaign. Let's see. Well, there's two things we can name. We name the campaign name, which is just, I guess, kind of the save name. So I guess what I'll call this one is just Savvy. And the Kerbal Space Agency, instead of the Kerbal Space Agency, we're going to do the, I mean, we could think about Savvy Space Agency or let's see, SASA. Instead of NASA, we have SASA, which will, the first S will be Savvy. Oops. The Savvy Aeronautics and Space Administration, I think that's what it would be called. So we're just going to do SASA. That works. So let's start our campaign and we'll dive right into it. I love the new update, the For Science update, for many reasons, and I'll explain as we go along. Come on, load me in.
Your new space program, leaping forward into the cosmos. Since the dawn of Kerbal Kind, we have looked to the sky and wondered what sublime mysteries lie hidden in the darkness, like jewels never beheld. These untold treasures may soon reveal themselves due to the efforts recently founded Kerbal Space.
Oh my! I think that might have been the only copy of the orientation film. Hold on! Slides, somewhere. Welcome to your first day running the Kerbal Space Program. This campus hosts the greatest ever gathering of astronomers, astronauts, and engineers. After years of focused effort, this collection of geniuses has created several very impressive buildings. We believe we have all the necessary pieces to take our first steps off the ground. The best way to advance our technologies further is to get up there and learn by doing. All we need now is somebody to show us how to put all these parts together. Well, we also need somebody to help us out with the flying. We need a lot of help, actually. That's why you're here. My name is Paige, by the way. If you need any hints, feel free to visit me over at the training center. Everything in there is well padded, so it's a great place to get up and running. Welcome aboard!
Alright, here we are. Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Center. This campus has everything you need to turn your fledgling space program into the stuff of legends. Are you playing in exploration mode? Be sure to visit the mission control. Completing missions is one way to earn science, which will let you purchase technologies at the R&D Center. If you want to start building right away, the vehicle assembly building is where you want to be. Our engineers have created a training program that will guide you through building and flying your very first rocket. You can go through those lessons here at the training center. Alright, so we're going to go to the Mission Control Center right away, just because this is where our missions will come from. And I'm just going to skip through this part because I could just simply explain. So these are where our primary missions are, and we'll actually have secondary missions as well as we progress through. So our first mission here is to launch a rocket. Time to launch the Kerbal Space Program's inaugural vessel, a fully functional rocket. Launch a rocket from Kerbin and achieve an altitude of at least 10 kilometers. So let's go here. The nerve center of our ancient Kerbal Space Center is the home. Okay. So we're going to track our mission here. We also get a mission brief here. Hello, Director. I'm Dr. Carrie Kerman, the department head of Mission Control. Mission Control is just one of many impressive buildings we finished. It's got that new building smell and everything. Here you can access everything you need to embark on missions to earn science. If you're interested in tips and tricks, exciting discoveries, life around campus, and more info on missions, join me for a mission brief. Read it all or just a bit. Just like in space, there's no pressure. When the mission's last objective is complete, come back here to submit your mission report. After a quick mission debrief from me, we'll return your paperwork into sweet, sweet science. If you want some practice, go to the training center and take the Mission the Ground refresher course. After that, it's time to get to work, or as I like to say, shoot for the moon. Now that we have a director, it's time to build and launch our program's inaugural vessel. For our first mission, your objective is to launch a rocket from Kerbin and achieve an altitude of 10,000 meters. It's hard to have a space program without launching a rocket. Feel free to track your mission and poke around the mission tracker. Poke gently, though. All the equipment is new. When you're done, come on back and submit your report. Good luck, Director. Alright, so we have our mission. So we're going to go to the VAB, which is the Vehicle Assembly Building. So this is obviously some things that we could go through as well, but I'll explain as we go through. So these are where our parts are, and it shows kind of a debrief of what we have so far. But you can also go into specific places too, such as fuel tanks, command, engines, coupling, aerodynamics, and utility. So our command modules are going to be what controls the vessel, having our Kerbals as well. So we can go down here to Kerbal Manager, and, since we played Kerbal Space Program 1 before, so we're going to have Jebediah as our go-to when it comes to piloting, because he's the OG, right? So, we're going to build our rocket just as usual, and this is just launching our first vessel, nothing too fancy. So we obviously want to have our command module first. We want to put a parachute at the top because we plan on to get to the ground, and we don't want to go too fast or else we'll crash. And we want to separate this as well when we get up to a certain point. So what we're going to do is use the TD-12 stack decoupler. And what this does is it separates the stages from whatever, top to the bottom or middle, whatever part you're using for that sort of thing. And in the fuel tanks, what we're going to do is, since we only need 10,000 meters, it's not really that much fuel that we need, to be fair. So what we could just do is just make a tiny, tiny rocket, and we just put this Methalox fuel tank here, and go to engines, and we put the swivel engine right here, right below it. Now there's some options we could do as well. So if we click the cogwheel here, where our bottom stage is, where the engine is, this will show you some different numbers here. And don't be intimidated by these because these are pretty simple to follow. So TWR is thrust weight ratio, which is typically what we want to look for the most. And it's at 5.99. And we want to turn this thrust limiter down. So you right click this and then it shows this panel here. But we want to turn this down until it's more like a comfortable like 1.3, 1.5, something like that. Because we don't want to go like shooting straight up into the sky really fast. Otherwise we'll start burning up really quickly and we might explode if we do that. So we want to be very careful. But this is essentially the order in which our rocket is going to be staged. So we have the engine goes off. Once the fuel's gone, then we decouple, and then all we have is the command module left, and then we deploy the parachute, and then that's it. We land on the ground, and there you go. So down here as well, here's the launch, which we're going to go to the launch pad 1, but this number here is our delta V, which means how much we have in order for us to get from point A to point B, or to get to point A to point B to point A. So to and from different locations. And we're going to have a higher number of delta V when we start to progress further. So let's go ahead and launch our ship real quick. So there's a couple things here to take note. This is our this is the node where we're able to rotate our ship, and this gives us kind of like the way that we're pointing. So obviously we're pointing straight up, and you have like 90 degrees, 100 degrees, 270, and then this one's like north, facing north. Then you have the time warp here, which this is very important for when we're doing the bigger missions and longer missions. This is to launch our rocket, and of course here's our stages, and this is showing like our apoapsis and periapsis, but I'll get to that here soon. But the cool thing is that we also have this panel here, which shows that we can actually do science experiments while we're just out and about here. So what I can do is I can click on the command pod, and I can run a crew observation, and this will give us a science report. So right here, it'll give us 4 science, and it says there is no place like home. And what's also interesting is I could just come out of here, I can EVA out of here, and I can do a surface survey, but I could also do a crew observation, which we want to do that instead. We're not going to do the surface survey yet until we get back down to the bottom. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and launch our vessel. You can also hit space to do that. Here we go. Here is our vessel launching. Yeah, look at that. And you could tell that it's not much thrust coming out of it is because we lowered the thrust to weight ratio, which means that it's going to be using less power, less fuel, and we're gradually building up speed. We're not just shooting super fast through the atmosphere, because things will get hot too quick and it'll just become a mess later on. But we can do more science as well, so we can run another crew observation since we're in the sky now, and we get 4 more. You record the crew's assessment of the situation. And depending on our altitudes or place in space, we can run more experiments as well. And we want to get ourselves up to 10,000 meters. So we're just picking up more and more speed as we're going along. You can see our speed here is going up faster and faster. You can also see that our delta V is obviously climbing really, really, really low here. But we actually are just about to make it to 10,000 meters. So we were actually super close to doing that, but we just needed just a tiny bit more fuel. Or I think if we had a little bit more thrust, we probably would have been able to make it higher. But in this game, which I guess this is a perfect example for this first episode, is that this game is a lot of trial and error, especially if you are not used to a game like this, and if especially you're new to this game. It's definitely a lot of trial and error, which is totally okay. I've gone through this a lot of times, and I guarantee you that we will be having lots of trial and errors when we're doing this kind of series here. So, but I do hope you guys enjoy the fails as well. But I'm gonna leave this one in just because, you know, it's pretty simple. It's not like a long mission like going to the Mun, going to Minmus, going to Duna, or anywhere further or closer to Kerbal, which is the star that's in the system. But not only that, but since we landed here, we can actually EVA to where we're on the surface, and we can take a surface sample. So this is a good opportunity to do that as well. And we're just going to pick up some air, or, you know, just scrape on the bottom and get some metal in there, even though we should be very familiar with it. But we get 18 science here, and it says the ground samples are fertilized loam, small pebbles, and a chunk of asphalt. Tarmac Henry is going to be furious. I wonder who Tarmac Henry is, but I don't want to know about him being furious. All right, so since we have the vessel completely, you know, it's been used up, everything's good now, we landed, we can recover our vessel here, and we get kind of a summary as to what happened. with this. So we can close this and then we can revert. We can either revert, which we don't want to do that, but we would just want to go back to the vehicle assembly building and just improve on our craft. So I'm just going to do this quickly. So instead of having this little tank, we're going to add 2 of these tanks instead. Now in KSP2, instead of having money to worry about like in KSP1, you don't have to worry about money in this version of the game, which I think is really good. I actually think it's really good that we don't have to worry about it at all, because less stress and not having to do like more side missions and whatnot just to try to, you know, satisfy the funds that are needed to build bigger vessels, etc., etc. So anyway, we're gonna go back, and we can also name this as well. But I think for this just beginning rocket, we're not really gonna do that for now. But I definitely want to hear some rocket suggestions, like rocket name suggestions that you guys might have in store. But also, one thing I forgot to mention that I was going to talk about later or earlier was the fact that, oops, I think I accidentally decoupled, but I think we'll be okay as long as I don't move. I think we'll be fine. Oops. I wonder if this actually will hold, but as I'm worrying about this, so one thing I love about the new update, the For Science update, is that it's really changed the way that the game is. Like, a lot of issues have been fixed. Granted that there are still some bugs that exist, and we might come across them at some point while doing this series. But not only that, you know, like, again, a lot of bugs were fixed. That there was the issue before, like wobbly rockets, for example. But not only that, I think the performance of the game is also has really improved over time as well, and I think it's definitely far better than what it was when I tried to play it the first time. So, but guess what? Look, we reached above 10,000, and I don't know what this is doing, but I'm just gonna roll with it. I don't even know how much fuel this thing has left. I have no idea. Oh, there we go. And pretty much we're done here. There we go. Let's deploy our parachute and we'll speed up time a bit. But there we go. That was very easy. So once we land down here, and I think we're going to land in the water, which with us landing in the water, we can take another surface sample. And not only that, but we can actually go back to mission control and turn in our mission, and also go into the research and development and actually spend our science, which you guys will be able to see as well. So I'm looking forward to it, but I want to go ahead and just wait until we land on the water, and then we'll take that surface sample. All right, we're in the water. Now we can EVA, and we can do 2 things. We can run a crew observation, and we can get off here and run a surface sample where we're just going to pick up the ocean water that's here. And we're right off the coast of the Kerbal Space Center, which, by the way, has significantly improved from the first game. It looks completely different. So here it is. Let's see. The water is extremely salty. Sample results: 95% water, 3% salts, and a small percentage of organic and inorganic substances. Interesting. Which we'll be getting a lot more data points and descriptions as we continue the space program. So again, let's recover our vessel, and we're going to go actually to the mission control since we finished the mission. Submit. Welcome back. Thrilling work on the launch pad today. A reporter passed out because of all of the excitement. Then again, it could have been the rocket fumes. They asked all about you, but I said no comment. I think the joke went over their heads. Anyway, you're off to a great start. After our debrief, submit your mission report and earn some science. And don't forget to swing by the R&D Center to see what new parts are available. The folks in R&D have ideas for some cool advancements, and a little bit of science can make the ideas real. When you're done unlocking new technologies, return here for your next mission. We did it! Yay! We launched our first vessel and made it into a little bit into the atmosphere. A little bit, you know, away from the atmosphere, I should say. But here we go. Here is the next one. Someone left an anonymous note that our launch pad that our launch wasn't a success. Let's make it undeniable. Launch a rocket from Kerbin and achieve an altitude greater than 70 kilometers. So pretty much we have to leave the atmosphere. So we're going to track that mission, but we're going to go to the R&D Center, which, by the way, has, like, really good music. So I'm probably going to turn it up so you can listen to it. All right. That's enough dancing. So here's all the things that we can unlock here, as long as we have enough science to do so. And there's different pages here, which gives us an indication of like which page or which section of the science allows us to go however far we can. So like obviously with right now, we could probably technically go to Eve and Moho with our current technology, including maybe the moon a little bit as well, which, as you can see, Mun landing here. The Mun, I said moon. And then out here you could go to Duna, Ike, Drez, and then out here could be Jewel, and then, you know, I can't remember the, Bop? Not Bop. That's not Bop. I know, I can't remember. Pole? No, that's not it either. You guys are going to yell at me for not remembering the last one. It's like Pluto. I feel bad. All right, but we're going to get light launchers, which gives us a radial decoupler, aerodynamic nose cone, Methalox fuel tank, a bigger one, and the Reliant Methalox engine, which that one doesn't have swivel, so we might not be using that at all. So, and we're going to get environmental science because that allows us to produce more science. And obviously we want aerodynamics and stability as well, so that way we can get the wheel stabilizer, because if we build bigger vessels, we want to keep consistent control over it. And if we just have the top part have control and nothing in the middle with taller rockets, it's going to be a little bit wobbly, or it's just going to try to flip over. So we're also going to get survivability, because heat shields are going to be very important too, especially when we get to the point of going to orbit. And then we could just continue to do solid fuel boosters so that we can unlock the next tier here for like orbital rocketry. And I think the last bit of science that we can spend are for probes and for introductory construction. So we'll get those. But I think that what we've done so far, albeit not much, we got 10,000 meters or 10 kilometers. And I think this is a good beginning for, I guess, a mini series here where we just go through the exploration mode in this game. And hopefully updates will be coming around as we're doing this as well as we progress through this little series here. But in the next one, we're actually going to try to reach out of the atmosphere and maybe go to orbit as well, because let's see if we could do 2 missions in one go, because those 2 are pretty easy to do, and there's a lot more explaining to do as we get to that point. But if you guys did enjoy this, be sure to leave a like if you haven't already. I would really appreciate that. And don't forget to hit subscribe as well, because that lets me know that you guys enjoy the content on the channel and would like to see more. And here is the list of members that we have on the channel that will be on the screen right now. But I have been Savvy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. See you later.